Hello, I'm Samuel, and this is Analytical Mysticism. So I'm going to start this video with a quote from the reading, and it goes as follows. Indeed, those who believe, the Jews, the Christians, the Mandaeans, whoever believes in God in the last day and acts righteously, they'll get their reward, and they will not fear, nor will they grieve. So this text, this quotation, pulls on a theme that's quite central to mysticism, which is that it doesn't really matter what you say you are. It matters what you actually are. So looking into the text, right, the first question you could ask is, okay, do you realize the nature of the transcendent reality and how your whole life experience is truly simply an interaction with this reality, right? Two, do you understand that every single thought, action, spoken verbal item that you make, has consequences? That you'll have to taste everything that you did in your life sooner or later, Do you act righteously in the world, right? Do you give the wealth that you don't really need anymore? Like, you've satisfied your needs and you see other people who are in need and you give it to them, right? Do you help people develop as human beings? Do you help build their internal schemas about how to live as human beings, right? If you do these things, right, whether you call, God Brahman, or you call it reality, or you call it Allah, or you call it the Tetragrammaton, it doesn't matter. Have you realized the importance of this reality within your life, right? Whether you call it the last day, or you call it karma, or you call it the day of judgment, it doesn't matter, right? Do you realize that all of your actions will come back to you one day? All of your thoughts, right, will bear their fruits. Every seed that you plant will grow into a tree, and you'll eat from what you planted, right? Do you act, in the world in such a way that it makes you a more beautiful person and the world a more beautiful place, right? If you do all these things, regardless of the names that you might apply to them, right? People who do these things are on a single path. They're in the same vehicle, right? Which is a vehicle away from suffering. It's the vehicle towards the liberation from suffering. It's a vehicle towards heaven, in other words. So there's a mystic who is also a poet, and he wrote in one of his books, that the differences that humanities face comes from the names that they use. But when they come back to the meaning, they find unity, So after he says this, he gives a short story, right? So he says that there was 4 men and they had $1. So the first man, said that, hey, I want to buy grapes, right? And now they all spoke different languages, and they can kind of get pieces of what the other people were saying, but there was miscommunication between them. And so the second man said, grapes? No way I'm going to buy grapes. I'm going to buy, and then he said, the Arabic word for grapes, right? Not knowing that that's the same word for grapes. Then the third man was like, that? There's no way I'm eating that. What I want to eat, is, he said, then the Greek word for grapes. And the same thing happened with the fourth man, where he said, oh, that's stupid. I'm going to eat, and he said, the Turkish word for grapes. And they started fighting each other and disputing, and then calling each other idiots and saying, oh no, you don't know what's the best thing to eat. Started fighting and punching and the rest of it. And then a mystic came along, right? And he told them, I can get you all what you want with the same $1, So they're referring to the same thing, grapes, right? It's the same path, right? But it's called by different names. So by all means, call yourself Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, Hindu. Like, those are just names. The real question is, what's the path that you're actually on? And this is a central theme within, the mystical tradition. So perhaps you've experienced people having an argument, or maybe you've been in an argument like this where people are arguing for like 30 minutes, and then they realize that they're actually saying the same thing, you know? So within mysticism, there's the idea that there's a bunch of different names that you can apply to a concept. The names don't matter. What matters is the reality behind it. So instead of getting into petty squabbles about names, we should try to spend our lives finding the true meaning behind all these names and coming to a better relationship, you know, with reality. And so in a sense, you could say that mysticism says that religions don't exist. So if you found this video insightful, I suggest you check out my other videos and subscribe.